What's up, guys? Welcome back to a new video here. So we haven't really talked about this yet, and this is a pretty big story with Andrew Tate basically arriving back in Florida. It was reported that it was negotiated with the Trump administration. Again, I don't want to specifically say that's 100% true because there is a lot of conflicting reports out there about it. But he's in Florida now, and there's obviously a lot of controversy, specifically in the right wing, where they're basically like, I would say the majority of people are like, yeah, this guy is bad news. Why are we platforming this guy still at this point? I mean, it's not an issue of like, oh, you shouldn't have him on to give him, a space to give his ideas. Everyone knows what his deal is already. And the guy is charged with human trafficking, rape in Romania. The guy is facing serious, serious charges. There's heavy allegations against him for a lot of this. And, frankly, his message, I mean, he's on tape saying a lot of very, very bad shit. Okay. That is a fact. And, the fact that this guy's being propped up by certain members of the right, specifically the PBD podcast, for example, which is they were under immense criticism for this. It's kind of wild, and they're just doing it for clicks. Okay, that's what it's about. And they say, they promote it like, oh, no questions are off limits. Utter BS, utter BS. No questions are off limits. It's a complete softball interview. So to frame it that way is so disingenuous. It's honestly hard to believe. But again, there was a debate where he arrives in Florida, and the DeSantis administration, to my surprise, honestly, they were like, "This is unacceptable. This guy is not welcome here in the state of Florida." And I mean, it kind of makes sense, guys. Like, this guy's accused of human trafficking and rape, and the Trump administration and Republicans are supposedly super against that. So it kind of makes sense that he would be. And there could be a political aspect to it too, because people say, oh, he's trying to position himself against Andrew Tate. I see, and we're going to show the clip of the Piers Morgan where the guy Vinny Oshana from PBD gets just hammered on this point, where he's like, "Oh, it's a political thing." Byron Donalds, also the MAGA pick, who Trump endorsed, he also came out and saying, "Yeah, I support all these charges, or I support the investigation into the Tate brothers." So that doesn't make any sense. This idea that, oh, it's a political thing. I mean, I think most people, I would say like 90% of the state of Florida, is not going to be happy with this guy being in their state. And the guy's literally on. This didn't come up in the Piers Morgan interview, which is kind of strange. He was literally on tape yesterday with Candace Owens saying that, yeah, you think you're going to find anything on me? I wipe my phone every night. What? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you guys like wipe your phones every night to like eliminate incriminating information. That's kind of weird. I wouldn't really be saying that publicly. That's so for this guy who's super smart. In the clip we're about to show, Vinny starts saying, "Oh yeah, you got to respect him." I mean, the guy says, men should be superior to their women. All this very misogynistic shit. Okay, I mean, it's pretty wild. This guy's being propped up in conservative circles. I mean, it is pretty masculine to actually have a family and like be a good person. I mean, I don't know. I don't think being a pimp is exactly the greatest message and role model for people, but okay, fine. But we'll talk about it after. Here's a clip. We're going to show you it and we'll discuss it afterward. I think it's pretty wild that people are somehow defending this. I mean, especially someone this guy like Vinny Oshana, who's supposedly super obsessed with the Epstein Island and human trafficking, but is all over Andrew Tate and is coddling him like a freaking child. I mean, it's really embarrassing. Here's a clip. We'll talk about it after. And by the way, guys, make sure to like and subscribe. It's super good for the algorithm. And if you want to support the channel in any way, my Patreon link is also in the description. So any support helps out the channel immensely. Here's a clip, guys, and we'll talk about it after.
Well, first, Piers, I mean, listen, love him or hate Andrew Tate, you have to at least admit and respect the fact that this guy moves the needle, okay? From when he started, Piers, talking about masculine, men trying to be masculine, talking to girls, being a man, trying to be the best that you could be. The moment, Piers, everybody was fine with it. The moment he started talking about the system, the same system that's been trying to destroy Donald Trump, the same system that shot Donald Trump in his freaking head and tried to kill him, this is just him in a different country and in a different way. Okay, Piers, I've hung out with this guy multiple times. He's not what the media says that he is. Has he messed up in the past? 1,000%. And if there's a crime, Piers, and you get convicted, go to jail, okay? Period. Anybody that's guilty, go to jail. For him to come here, he has a passport. He was born in the United States. For Ron DeSantis to last minute be like, hey, you know what? Don't come here. You're not welcome. What kind of authoritative attitude is that, Piers? And then I try to think, why, Piers? Why would Ron DeSantis all of a sudden say, don't come here? The guy has a passport. He's from here. I think it has deeper implications. I think it's because his wife, Casey, is going to be running for governor, and they don't want anybody that's a male that's implicated in anything. But where's the crime, Piers? Like, DeSantis is about to act like, because I know there's like they're looking for them right now, or they're trying to put a crime on them. If that's not the same weaponization of the justice system that Biden was doing to Trump, then what is it? How are we different than these people? What did they do, Piers? It's different if you actually committed a crime, but looking for a crime to get somebody in jail is absolutely ridiculous, Piers. That's communism 101.
Okay. All right, Batia, your response to that. I just can't believe a single person on the right would defend this degenerate, a person who has bragged about beating on women, bragged about trafficking them. He makes the left's case for it. You know, the left is out there demonizing men, demonizing masculinity. And then this guy shows up and says, I'm a real man. I beat on women. And the right is like, yeah, right on. This is a real man. It's disgusting. And I'm so proud of the American right because I've never seen a leftist have a sister soldier moment in the last 20 years and stand up to the extremists on their side. But I've seen so many people on the right, conservatives, saying this does not represent us. A man is a man who protects women. A man is a man who raises his children. A man is a man who makes people safe, like you both did when you served this country. You served in the military. That's what makes a man. That's what real masculinity is: protecting and serving, not this disgusting degenerate who has bragged about beating up women. So yeah, I think the justice system should work fine. If there's a crime, they should prosecute. If there's not a crime, they shouldn't. We can all just say this person is disgusting and keep him away from my daughters and keep him away from my women. But I'm so proud that there were so many people on the right who stood up to someone who's ostensibly on their side and said, this is not what represents us.
But
Okay,
here,
Rob.
can I just say one thing, though? Can I just say one thing
Yeah,
really fast, Piers?
quickly,
And I
yeah.
understand the frustration, but where's the proof? He could have said anything. When Trump said grab them by the you-know-what, he didn't do it. This guy is just, like, you guys have to understand, Andrew Tate is a personality. I've heard the videos where he's jokingly around and people take it serious. Unless there's a victim, unless there's a girl that's stepped forward, which the ones that they brought up were told to go against him, okay? Because he's going up against the Matrix, okay? These girls have all come
Well,
up.
hang on, Vinny, hang on. To be clear, that's what he's told you, right? There is a lot of
he's told the
evidence
world.
there. Well, there's a lot of evidence that he was going to be held accountable over, which he now is highly likely to avoid being held accountable over. I've always said I don't know the truth about Andrew Tate. I do think he has a huge influence on young men, but I don't know the evidence. But I do know there are a lot of claims from a lot of women building up both in Romania and in the UK. Rob.
Okay, and again, I mean, I think Piers at the end there has a really good point where he's like, wait a second, there's no allegations, like Vinny Oshana just completely lying to the audience. And this is a problem with the media ecosystem today is you have these podcasts and you have a lot of these guys, they just say all this stuff completely unchecked. It's the same thing that happened on the Tate podcast where he said, where the PBD people, they're like, yeah, there's no allegation. It's like two people. Utter BS. There's numerous allegations against him, serious crimes. There's videos of him openly admitting to beating women. This is like a thing. You can look it up. This is not some like, and the idea that this guy Tate is trying to, and a lot of his propagandists like Vinny Oshana and the PBD people trying to make it seem like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm totally, there's no allegations against me. It's all a deep state matrix attack like they did to Trump. I mean, you got to be stupid. I mean, you got to have an IQ below 50 to believe this kind of stuff and like to buy that kind of bullshit. Okay. I mean, it's legitimately wild. Some of the stuff people will buy at this day and age. I mean, it's embarrassing. But again, the idea that this guy is being targeted just because he's attacking the system. What? I mean, you got to be really stupid to think that. And to be fair to this guy, the one thing I'll say about this Andrew Tate, I mean, listen, he has an audience, he's a charismatic speaker, and people are able to buy what he says. And yeah, a lot of what he says, I would say more in the past, where talking about masculinity and like go to the gym, like, yeah, these are normal things to say. These are good motivational things. The way he talks about women, though, is disturbing, to say the least. Okay. And the allegations are also disturbing, to say the least. And this guy's a pimp. He exploited women. This is one example, guys. He would, a lot of his women who would do cams, for example, let's say they make $40,000 a year. He would take 37,000 of it. That in and itself is like human trafficking to an extent. And you're making a lot of money and it's complete exploitation. And the idea that this is the guy who is the quote unquote one of the leaders of I'm not going to say he is leader of the conservative movement, but the idea that a lot of these people are pushing that, it's utter BS. And it's the idea that, this guy Vinny, he hangs out with Tate a few times, thinks this guy is so great. I mean, it's so ridiculous. He's obviously putting on an act, and it makes sense. The idea that DeSantis are going to like position themselves with Andrew Tate and align with him, it's so internet brained. It's honestly hard to even comprehend. It's absurd. Not to mention, calling out Ben Shapiro. This guy is on social media saying slurs at everybody, saying pretty reprehensible shit, to be completely honest with you. And the idea that you expect Ron DeSantis to align with you. The one thing I'll say is, and again, he's not just pro-Palestine, which is what he says. He thinks that's a big reason why. And I will say one thing I will concede, I am very skeptical. I do wonder if he was not saying stuff about Israel, whether or not there would be that much of a backlash from the Ben Shapiros of the world. I don't know. Maybe there would be, but I do wonder if that's a big part of it. But this guy's not just pro-Palestine. This guy is openly pro-Hamas. He's he's very pro-Sinwar, I think. So he said a lot of controversial out there shit. Okay, this guy lives on controversy, which is kind of his brand. And to be fair to him, it's worked. It's worked. But the idea that these guys expect Ron DeSantis to align with him, and they're looking for a crime, oh, they're just looking to put him in jail. Well, wait a second. There's reports of allegations of underage women in Florida who have made allegations against him, serious allegations. So yeah, they're going to investigate that. That's kind of their job. And the fact that I'm positioning myself, I'm no fan of Ron DeSantis or Ben Shapiro, trust me. But the idea that yeah, they shouldn't be investigating these allegations is completely ridiculous. And guess what? He's fleeing the state. Andrew Tate is fleeing the state of Florida to go back to Romania, or that's what he says. I mean, who knows? But he said he's fleeing the state. Why would you be fleeing if you're innocent and you have nothing to hide? Doesn't really make much sense, does it? I think the entire thing is so absurd in on its face. And I do think there's a lot of people who don't align with Tate. I think most people who are not on the internet 24/7 do not align themselves with Tate, but it's pretty wild to see some of the people, specifically the PBDs of the world, they just have this guy on because, again, they know it'll bring them clicks, and they give no pushback. And specifically on this panel, you see Bhatia, I think her name is there, basically why are the conservatives aligning themselves, like this guy Vinny, aligning himself with Tate, who's openly brags about women being subservient to men? I'm not sure that's a good political message if you're trying to win elections in the future. It's utterly ridiculous. And if it's true the Trump administration negotiated to bring this guy back, why? And I will say, people saying, Trump himself was involved. I don't know if it goes that high up, but yeah, people in his administration, it's been reported, are involved. And Richard Grenell apparently also, I believe was the main guy, one of his envoys. But it's just ridiculous to me. And yeah, frankly, DeSantis, he's not going to put up with that. Why would you put up with that? Okay, it's absurd. And the entire argument he makes, again, the Tates, it's just everything. If you have any basic political IQ and you have some understanding, like he said, never forget what DeSantis did, allowing the feds to raid Mar-a-Lago. Okay, so I'm not sure if you guys know this. The federal government has jurisdiction. The state government can't do anything. So when they raided Mar-a-Lago, the feds, the FBI went in. The state can't do anything about that. So the idea that DeSantis was supposed to stop that, just absurd on its face. It's absurd. It's a lie. And it's frankly pathetic. And the goal is to trick these people into thinking. And again, the way this guy makes money is his Hustlers University, where he takes advantage of these people spending money, $80 a month or whatever it is, to become rich, a get rich scheme. I mean, it's so insane. Okay. And I don't know. And I'm curious what you guys think about it. Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I think it's absurd. I think this guy, Vinny, making it seem yeah, this guy's just, a normal guy. He's cool. They're after him. Utter bull crap. Okay. It's insane. It's insane. That's what I got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe. It's super good for the algorithm. And yeah, the entire thing, insane to me. I think he's going to go back to Romania because, frankly, I think he probably did some bad shit, if I had to guess. Okay. And he probably does not want to face any accountability for that. So that's what I got for you guys, and I'll see you later.